Hi, I'm Diane Sweeney, author of Student-Centered Coaching and Student-Centered Coaching at the Secondary Level, and I wanted to introduce to you a few ideas about using the results-based coaching tool in a way that really should work within a coaching cycle. So you probably have thought about this tool if you've been reading Student-Centered Coaching, and you may have actually had challenges in using it. So I thought I would just introduce a few key points to using the tool that I think clarify a lot for coaches that we work with. So first of all, the tool itself is generated based on a goal for a coaching cycle. And the goal is always a goal related to the students. What are the students going to know and be able to do as a result of this partnership between the teacher and coach? So it could be students will learn how to write an opinion-based piece of writing. Students will learn how to problem solve and use what they know about multiplication to solve division problems. So it could be any sort of goal that fits the teacher's needs, ideally, or should pretty much always come from the teacher, and be very representative of the work the teacher and coach are really trying to make happen with the kids. So the goal is always first and foremost. It's the key driver for the tool. And so if you look at the tool and you move across from the left to the right, you'll see the top left corner is where that goal sits. Then we always want to think about collecting some sort of baseline data for the kiddos or for the students. So we think about that as baseline data that captures what they know right at the front end and what they can do related to that goal. We also, at this point in the cycle, like to think about a series of learning targets. So what are the learning targets that would break down that goal and that would really make it clear and measurable? So if we were working towards the goal of students will write an opinion piece of writing that would align with the standard, then we'd want to think about all of the targets that kids would need, and we like to frame those as I can statements, all of the targets that would show proficiency. So what do kids need to know and be able to do to hit that mark? That set of learning targets really factors in big time when it comes to the pre-assessment or the baseline data, because that becomes our criteria. That's what we're measuring by. That's our criteria for what we want to see kids doing. So oftentimes this tool, and this is a misconception, it is interpreted as if the baseline data or the pre-assessment data has to be some sort of very official seeming test or an assessment that is very comprehensive, or maybe that came out of the back of a program or a curriculum book of some kind. But rather what we actually like to suggest is for the pre-assessment for a coaching cycle to be much more performance-based in nature. So it's not typically very test-like. It's oftentimes doing the work itself. So actually write an opinion paragraph. Let's see how you do with that. Let's see what you know how to do at the front end. If it's a reading standard or a reading goal, let's see what you're doing as a reader. Math, let's see what you're doing as a problem solver. So they're not anything you would bubble in. They're nothing that you would score necessarily. It's just a chance for kids to show you what they know. This isn't meant to be used for official reporting purposes. It's just meant for you to be able to say, what was the impact of this coaching cycle? So that's the kind of evidence or pre-assessment or baseline data we're after. So you could imagine then if the students wrote a short opinion-based piece of writing, all that we would have to do to score that, it's not a big burdensome process. It's typically just let's sort the group into three piles, the student work into three piles, and let's see who hit it. In terms of, by hitting it, I mean who was able to do all of the work required by the learning targets. You know, how many of our students or what students or in what ways were they able to do that? Who kind of got there, and then who is maybe way off base or not clearly there yet. And that becomes our percentages. So we can say 3 out of 25 students are able to do that. They wrote a very clean, well-constructed piece of writing that hit on all those targets. So yeah, we've got some evidence of proficiency here. That's good to know for planning future lessons, isn't it? Because those kiddos might not need the same things as the others. And then you're going to have a big middle group, a group of, let's say, it may be 11 or 12 out of 25, or even more possibly, who are kind of there. And you may be making notes about, ooh, what are the lessons we need to really focus on first? What do we need to teach into based on what these kids are doing as writers? And then the last group are your ones that are off base. Maybe they need some support through Tier 2 instruction. Maybe you need to form a small group of writers. So you're already thinking ahead through this process to how are we going to differentiate instruction. So we don't want this to feel like we're putting in raw percentages. It's test-like. The kids actually shouldn't even know they're being assessed because it's just doing the work that surfaces what they know. So that all happens at the front end of a coaching cycle.